Hey Aries, I'm recording you again. I just started, but my mic was switched off, so I don't know if it recorded. I hadn't started, I was just having a chat. So it's been Mercury in retrograde, guys. We're coming to the end. The energy is starting to lift. So hopefully by the end of the week, as we come into October, the energy is going to be a lot more nicer than it has been. I don't know how it's been for you, but for me, I feel like I've been struggling. I think how it's come through for me is with how other people communicate to me. And I feel like obviously that's come to my attention for a reason, but I can't say it comes about its stresses, right? So I actually bought this t-shirt that I'm wearing to kind of fit that vibe. I wanted to show you it because it's kind of funny. So here it is. It's a stressed little kitty cat. And it's like, I'm fine, everything's fine, it's fine. And I feel like this is the representation of kind of how Mercury in retrograde gets us, right? That's why it has this negative connotation to it, even though I don't believe that Mercury in retrograde is completely negative. While we're going through it, we can have that habit of being like, why are you so mean? Right? And that's definitely the vibe. Comment below on how it affected you. Let me know. Like, have you been the stressed little kitty cat, or have you been the one causing the stress for somebody else? You know, we all play our parts, right? Let me know below. So guys, October, we're nearing the end of the year, and I do feel like the energies are kind of being more kinder to us towards the end than it was in the beginning. And I feel like it's a great time to start reflecting on that, because we're coming up to the time of year where it's kind of the collective starting up with our resolutions and how we're going to better our life based on the year that we just had. It's kind of like a natural cycle that even those that don't realize that they are doing it, that they don't realize they are a spiritual being like the rest of us, will also add to that communal energy. So I love it, loving this time of year. As you can see, I'm still in the house I was with before. There's no new setup. So I'm really hoping either it happens fast or it happens slow, because Christmas is a great time for me. And I hate that there could be potential that everything's rushed and will interrupt my Christmas spirit of me making it great for the kids. And what we will be, right? That's what we're learning this year. Year of balance, 2022. Okay, let's start for you guys. So you have two reverse cards in these top cards. I'm reading it the same way that I did last month. However, there's 4 cards across. I think I did it 3 cards before, but I was drawn to pull 4 as I started these ones. Your first one, so pay attention, it's in reverse. The Lady of the Gift, generosity, receiving and withholding. Okay, Aries, straight away I can feel these energies for you and how they represent. And I feel like there is I do feel like there's a feminine energy that's kind of throwing like something at you, be it like generosity, be it kindness, be it love. I feel like there's this feminine energy of it actually feels kind of nurturing is what I want to say. Kind of like the imagery here. It feels as though you've got attention in that kind of area. Feminine energy doesn't mean it's female, obviously. It just feels as though it's feminine, so nurturing, caring, compassionate, that kind of energy. I feel like as though you, again with the withholding aspect of this, that then came up as though, but are you giving yourself? Are you open to this? Are you sending it back out? This giving and receiving, this generosity. And I feel like you have this capability within you, but I just got this sense of it being withheld. So be wary of that, and whether you are maybe not accepting it in the way that it needs to be accepted into your heart. Okay, interesting. I don't know why. And I get that being passionate. So here, what is drawing me here is this flame down here. Now, this is all up here is the kind of that energy I was just saying. But I feel like there's passion here down below. And I feel like there is this passion that's wanting you to kind of, I feel like it's drawing me in as though it wants attention. It's like some kind of passionate energy that wants to thrive. And I feel like this is something sort of within yourself as well as external. I feel like there's something really that you could be harnessing during this time. that kind of will spark a flame that will grow in a very constructive, positive way. It's kind of like building something. So if it was in terms of relationship, I feel as though there's this flame that's waiting to be kind of stoked. Like, you know, when you light a fire and it's just a spark, but it's there, and it kind of it brings this like joy into life as it grows and bigger and becomes this like campfire, right? Where you all dance around it or toast your marshmallows and things like that. This is the sense I get, that being like a relationship growing into something that is joyous and full of kind of that high passionate energy. It just needs you to stoke the fire, to build that fire. And I feel like this is where it's withholding. It's like your attention is up here when it needs to be down there. Pay attention to that. In terms of career as well, I get, again, you putting your energy into something, or in life, just anything, not necessarily career. It's just something needs attention to make it grow. But it's there, the spark is there, and it's kind of like it's waiting for your attention to move away from being up here to being present. So perhaps stop looking ahead as well and become more present within the situation that you want to put your attention in. I guess something that you want to build, it's ready to be built. And I do feel like as though you have left it, it's like lighting a candle. It's giving me church vibes. Like when you light a candle, say a prayer, and you've put your prayer out there, and you are in this energy where you're very receptive to receive it right now. Like it's there. Your wish has been granted. You asked for it, and so you were giving it. But you have not been putting your attention on that thing. It's ready to be built up for you, rather than to continue wishing for that. Yeah, totally. Okay. Six of Swords in reverse is your cards. This is the energy that you're in with this at the moment, presently. Okay. So yes, you're moving away from it, which is what I'm getting. I feel as though you're just not seeing it, or not giving it attention. It's like moving away from it, but it's like it's right there, like it's blatantly staring in your face, like that it's there. It's like, okay, so in this imagery, it's the moon. It's there. It's right there. And it's like you're moving away from it, and you're going with it with things that you've been carrying with you for some time. And I feel as though you've asked for something so I'm going to say this is kind of giving me like a wish. So wishing to the universe, praying to God, you know, whatever your way of communicating with the world and universe is. Like it's like you've prayed for something, and it's been like, yes, it is your time. Here you go, and you've been given it. But now you're not acknowledging it, or you're thinking, oh, maybe it's not the right time, or I don't know. There's just something. It's like taking other things that are not connected to this and going with that instead. So I hope that makes sense for you. That's what it's giving me. The energy you're moving towards with this. Okay. So the Queen of Wands. So I feel as though you actually kind of want the world. You want everything. This is giving me kind of, and you have it. I feel like it's like I said, it's there. However, get out of your head is what I want to say. And it's not, I don't feel as though you are in your head like self-doubting or anything like that. It's more feels as though you're being more logical, but not towards what you want. Yeah, logical is towards what you think is better for you, rather than actually what is. So I feel like, as in, it's stop trying to control your life, because I feel this big control here, Aries. And this Queen of Wands is kind of giving me like, you have everything you want. You're moving towards everything you want, but you have to let go of this control, or the thing you actually want is going to be down there still trying to get your attention, saying, hey, this is what you asked for. This is what you want. Like, I want you to have this. And he's trying to extend this abundance, which is, you know, you're holding a load of flowers. Life's good, but it could be better because there's more for you, but you have to let go of some control, is kind of how I feel this. And again, stop thinking with logic, because I do feel like this time in our lives, thinking logically has got us into a stagnant energy, just humanity as a whole. We kind of stopped relying on trusting ourselves, stopped relying on flowing with our heart, with our guts, and we started just flowing with what the world tells us is right, because it's like science. You know, you've had the evidence to support it. Science can only get you so far because there's only so much that science knows. They don't know everything yet. And some things are only just beginning to be explored with science, like energy, the human way of thinking and things like that. They are literally quite new sciences that we don't have all the answers for. So it's easier to trust something that is solid. And this is the vibe I'm getting with that. You're trusting what you know rather than what you feel and what you actually know. So when I say what you know, it's just there's no education behind what you know. There's no solidness. So you need trust on yourself as well with this, actually, as I go there. Okay, this was reversed. Pay attention. The camel boy, small steps and asking for help. Now, again, I get this sense of asking. It's like you continuously asking. And it's like a wish. And I don't think you're even that conscious of this, some of you Aries, because I kind of get this sense of it like being inner desires. It's somewhere where you want to be now and something you want, but it's something you're just blowing out there. Like, I want this, so it's, and I feel like you just feel like it's going to naturally come to you, actually. Which I do, that has happened. But I don't feel like now it's going to continue to happen because it's already here. You need to acknowledge that. Now, they're asking for help. I feel like you need to realize that you cannot just be by yourself. Now, I feel like if I used another deck, we would have a wolf here and it'd be a lone wolf. Because I feel like I need to say to you is remember that wolves are not a lone animal. They are pack animals. They thrive in community, and humans are exactly the same. We thrive in communities. We thrive with the help of others. But I feel like for you, this is hard for you. And I feel like what it is that you have asked for, you prayed for, what you wish for, of what you actually want in your life during this time in your life, is something you're just not used to. And it is about changing yourself. And it's scary. Small steps, baby steps. You don't need to jump straight in, but it is taking those steps. You do actually have to be proactive if you truly do desire to kind of manifest this into your life. Interesting. But it's there. So think on that. Okay. So the energy you are in with this is the Nine of Wands reverse. Okay, interesting. So the Nine of Wands is typically, and I feel like I'm going to go this way on with this one for you. It's like all kind of everything's been coming at you, and that I feel as though you actually feel as though it's stopped coming at you. It's kind of like as though, yes, you did feel, again, the flame, you felt it coming, but then it's kind of disappearing a little bit. And I feel like it's leaving you confused because you're stood there like, hey, I want this. I'm ready for it, but it's not. It's like it's giving you mixed messages. That's the energy I feel like with this, which totally makes sense with all of what I've been saying, because I feel like it's something within you that has created that energy that you're in now, but you're confused by that because I feel like you don't truly see the situation. You don't really see it as it is what I want to say for you. So think on that. What have you been wishing for? Okay. Nine of Pentacles is the energy you're moving. You're staying in this 9 as well, I've noticed, which is interesting in this one. Let me take a look for you. This lighting is very terrible in here now. It's that time of day where it starts getting darker. I'm going to have to bring the lamp in after this reading. Okay. Nine of Pentacles. Again, yeah, so even the energy you're moving towards, it's kind of like I get the sense of it's like you don't think that you can have it, is what I feel like with this. It's interesting because it's what you're moving towards as well, and I don't think you're moving, and this is why you've got the 2 9s, because it's not moving forward. So I do get this stubborn sense of yourself, and I just think it's because you're not seeing the situation clearly enough, and I think it's because you don't entertain the idea, is how I feel like with this. I feel like it's not something that you think on to really see what needs to change on, because I feel like, again, this is not something you're used to. This is not something you've explored before. You just want it to naturally come because, again, I feel as though when you feel like you don't know how to do something, unless there's a way of researching and learning, you feel kind of out of your, like, you feel the limitations of it, is what I feel like with this. So with this 9 of Pentacles, again, I feel as though you feel like you have you have it already. However, it's not growing, it's not coming into where you want it to be. And I think it's because you can sense that it's there and you know it's there. But the idea for this is, we want king energy. We don't want to stay in the 9 energy. And I think it's because something needs your attention further. And this is the part where you'll be feeling confused about it and not understanding fully. I want to say not understanding the feeling that you're feeling as well, because it feels as though, like a confusion. The Ice Queen. Ideas preserved, non-action, and entitlement. So this is like, it's kind of like you're resting on something with this one as well. She is kind of taking the time to rest. She is wise. She has wisdom. But for you, I feel like the wisdom here is outside of yourself. And I feel like it's very easily, this is where it comes into that inviting others in with asking for help. I feel like if you don't understand something, you're supposed to have a conversation. You're supposed to communicate. You're supposed to understand it. And because I feel like the way that you work is about understanding something. And you learn and grow through actual trial and error, and through that kind of, like, I want to say logical learning of something, because I just get this feel of like you, someone just telling you something, it doesn't make you change and grow or take it in. It's like you need to understand something, and I feel like that comes with you actually resting upon it and coming to your own mind with this to learn from your experience. But I do get this sense of you kind of preferring to shut away from it. I feel like that's your comfort zone and what you have done. But then if you do that, what you desire is going to stay behind you. It's, you're resting here. It's going to be behind you. But this Ice Queen, when I got it for another reading, when I've done it this time, it does give me that dual connotation of where you are powerful and it's a good time to rest, but it comes with a little warning of there's something that needs addressing though, and you can't just ignore it. With this energy, the Ace of Swords, definitely new territory, but I feel like you want it. It's a goal that you aspire to kind of achieve, and I feel like you want to be winning at this. And maybe this is also causing this dynamic within yourself, where you can't understand, like, I've asked for it and I got it, why is it not growing, or what's, it's just something that's not kind of, I feel like you feel like there's more that you need to do, but you don't know what, in that kind of way with this. Interesting. But I feel like you're trying a new approach, which is a good thing. I definitely feel like that's the guidance with this, is taking a new approach. And again, you taking charge and you being a dominant aspect to the situation. And again, so it comes with what you want. If you want something, go for it. And I think you need to look at your life and really look at the things that you have achieved. So times when you've accomplished something where you're like, I wanted that, I wished for that, and I got it. What did you do to get that? You were the one that drove that, right? You were the one that took charge and was like, hang on, I want this, I need to get it. I need to do what I can to make sure I get what I want. And this is what this feels for me. But it's about changing tactics, putting down the tools that you think worked and trying something new. Interesting. But again, there's a lot of inspiration. I feel like you can't go wrong and take a wrong path. 3 of Cups in reverse, the energy you're going with. I feel like this is not a time to socialize, and you're leading towards a time which is more about quantity than quality. I feel like that you have come to a time where you do need rest. We've got this Ice Queen and we've got the 3 of Cups in reverse. Now the 3 of Cups outright is all about socializing, collaborating. It's now time for you to stop collaborating. With this, I feel like don't be going off and talking to loads of different people about this. It's about communicating. And I know you've been told ask for help, but I think you need to go to the right person to discuss the right thing, if you know what I mean. Because I feel like, again, this is something that you are not overly confident in, so you don't want to speak to. So I'm going to go on this and be devil's advocate here. But let's say this is relationship wise. If this was relationship wise and you go to somebody who's single or hasn't had long relationships, long-term, sorry, not long distance, I mean maybe long distance, long-term relationships, they're not going to give you the advice you need because they're not living that. And they obviously are not successful in that area. You go to somebody else, you go to somebody who does understand that, who can give you it from a perspective that will make sense to you because they can say, hey, look, I've been through that and this is what I did, or whatever, you know. I feel like this is where you're going to gain your knowledge, and that's that wise owl there, is somebody who's been through it, who can tell you exactly what might be the missing ingredient, actually. Interesting. It's very interesting, Aries. Interesting reading. Next we have the Swan Queen. We have a couple of queens up here in your keywords, and I'm liking that because it feels as though we've gone from a lady to a queen. So this to me is growth, that this is an area that will grow. Now we're in Libra as well, so this the fact that relationships is coming up for you, it did for Gemini as well. It's a great time for that being balanced. I am getting this behind it being kind of relationshipy with some of this guidance. And yeah, I'm feeling like you're growing in this. So if you put your energy in, I see it. Choose transformation, intuition, and patience. So I do feel like this is a time for something to transform into something better. Something, not even better, more as in growing. I feel like it's transforming, next level kind of thing. I'm getting fluffy and swanny and I want to say Christmas. So it's kind of looks snowy in the same that Ice Queen is, but it's just giving me in my mind it's like kind of Christmas time. I feel like there'll be some real growth here in the area of your desires, where there will be great growth in December. Loving that. But I feel like you need to be graceful in this and trust, have patience. Again, because there's this sense of it being kind of a ground that you're not used to, I feel as though by being patient and understanding, and I do feel like you might need to be an ear, as in really truly listen, to gain better understanding is what I want to say. Yeah, interesting. So the first card is the Eight of Wands. Okay. So I do feel like you feel, again, I'm just getting this, you feeling as though you're out of your element, outside of your element. There's just this confusion of you not knowing what to do or how to improve the situation. But you're holding on. I feel like you're holding on to a person. So this, in relationship ways, I feel as though you are holding on to this, and this is what you want. This is what the other person wants. They're clinging to you as well. It's kind of like there's all these unheard things in the air. I feel like this is what I felt when I said listening. I feel like sometimes in this situation, it can feel as though there's storms and someone's trying to say to you, but when people communicate, and if they're saying the same things, it's because you haven't been listening and it hasn't been heard and it hasn't been changed and grown. And I think this is where it's coming in to, listen to understand. People are telling you something for a reason. And I feel like the energy that you're in is that unknown, and it's unsettling for you specifically. The energy it's moving towards is Two of Wands. This is good for a relationship. It is in reverse, and I think it's understanding that there needs to be an understanding from you that you are two very different people. And so when two different people come together, they have different love languages sometimes. But if you're expecting them to only respond to how you are, and you're not really, if you're not going to learn the language of the other person, it's like I've been reading this book about love language, actually. This is why I think it's coming into my mind. But say if you meet somebody who speaks a different language to you, you have to learn to communicate with them. Even if it's not the same language, you have to be able to tell. So say you go to a new country and you have to get a taxi. This taxi driver speaks a different language, but you need to go somewhere and he doesn't understand you, you don't understand him. So you have to come to this place of understanding. Now, couples typically don't have the same love language. Some people give gifts and that's how they express their love. Some people need affection. Some people need attention. So I think for myself, when I've been reading it, I think my love language is attention and time. Somebody who gives me their time and their energy and just bees with me, bees present, that goes far for me, right? And I feel like this is what this is saying. It's understanding that you may be confusing this because you are dealing with someone that is different from yourself, and that is a good thing. I feel like opposites attract is one of the most best things ever in terms of relationships lasting, because I feel like if you're with someone who's very much the same, you have this clashing, it works for some people, I'm just saying. And this is what this feels for you. There's a lot of passion here to grow, but it comes with that understanding and I think learning. And I think you need to be willing to learn and grow in this area, because if you don't, again, we're not going to have that growth. But I feel like this is a great month for you learning and discovering in that. And I feel like even subconsciously this is going to be happening for you, Aries, actually, because it just feels as though this is the way this reading is going. It's like this growth is going to happen. So yeah, loving it. I can feel a little bit within this that there's dual kind of, I get relationship massively in this in terms of love and relationship and growth there, but I can feel like there's like some kind of work behind the scenes with this, of there being a need for research and growth in another area as well. So I hope that makes sense for you, Aries. I do feel very much like this is giving me all these overwhelming, vulnerable, confusing vibes. So that makes sense why that's all coming through this for you. And I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next month.